Alrighty, so today is February 22nd of 2022, and this is the City of Leominster Conservation Commission public meeting. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting and public hearings will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public are able to access this meeting by the links on the agenda below or the telephone number. I will start the meeting off with a roll call, starting with our chairman, Chuck Raymond. Thank you. Our vice chairwoman, Elizabeth Ricci Blair.
Here.
Thank you. Jeffrey Going.
Here.
Thank you. Michael Seeke.
Here.
Thank you. And Richard Gullick.
Here.
Thank you. Currently absent from the meeting is Amanda Lansing and Kenneth Ridlin. So at that, I will hand it over to the chair.
All right, thank you, Anoja. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for joining here on 2/22/22. Oh, what happened to the agenda? Amanda, there you go, Angela. Thank you. I was left without anything to read. All right, so
sorry, I was trying to write the plan.
That's all right. These things happen. It'd be easier if it was in person. Oh well. Anyway, nothing new under conservation land management. Moving on to new hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a garage with associated driveway and site grading. Address 689 Wachusett Street, Leominster, Mass. Map and parcel 358-1K, DEP file number 199-1145. With that, is there anybody here to represent the project?
Wesley Fliss, Whitman and Bingham Associates. We're a division of Haley Ward. I am here to represent the project on behalf of Gary Perla.
I'm sorry, very quickly, what was your name again?
Wesley Fliss.
Hi, Wesley, how are you? Yep.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
So I'm here to represent Barry Perla for his project at 689 Wachusett Street. What Mr. Perla would like to do is construct a 24-foot by 28-foot garage in the right-hand corner of his property. Currently he has a single-family house on the property. His septic system is located on the left-hand side. In the back of his property is a pool. And what he wants to do is put up an additional garage on his property. He's had some stuff outside that he would like to get inside of the garage for the time being, and so he has. We're proposing the garage within the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands. There are wetlands along the right-hand side of the property that wrap around the rear of the property. Like I said, we're going to be within 100 feet of the wetlands, and that's why we're filing with the Conservation Commission for the work. We do show a driveway connecting his existing driveway off of Wachusett Street to this garage. We tried pulling the garage as close as we could to the existing driveway. And the restricting factors that we're looking at here were some existing landscape features that he has on his property, and also a utility pole that he has on his property. And so we were working around those restricting factors and where to site the garage. We also had to make sure that we were meeting the zoning requirements. And so we need to meet the front yard offset requirement. So we had to push the garage 31 feet off the layout of Wachusett Street. We do show road control barriers around the rear of the grading for the property. There should be very limited amount of earth grading associated with the garage. We're trying to keep the garage close to the existing grades that they are now, and same with the driveway. The driveway would be very similar to what the existing grades are now. Trying to limit the disturbance within the buffer zone. The area that's being proposed to be disturbed is mainly disturbed at this point, or has been over the years, as it's a lawn used as kind of a lawn area or field area, where like I said, right now he's been kind of just parking a couple trailers there, and so he would like to get those inside of a garage. Fairly simple project that I know I've gone back and forth with Andrew on a couple of emails. I'm gonna trying to answer some of her questions. And I think hopefully we can answer the rest of those tonight if the commission has any questions also.
All right, thank you. Did you go by Wes or Wesley?
Either one, that's fine.
Okay. All right, thank you, Wesley. Angela, is that you pulling the map up?
Yes, I'm trying to pull the plan up. It's in the NOI. I wasn't sure if Wes wanted me to make him the presenter or not.
I'm not on my on the computer right this second. I'm actually using my phone to do
Okay, that's
this.
fine. I'm just scrolling down to pull up the plan right now. So
It should be on the last sheet of that attachment.
Yeah, while Angela's doing that, this is Chuck Raymond again, the chairman. Yeah, Wes, obviously, as you
the
know,
delay
it's much,
between computers.
it's much easier if we can see the plans while we're doing stuff.
Computer. Is
Angela, you still there? Maybe having some communication issues with Angela. Let me text Angela just to make sure.
you see it? And yet,
Oh,
Yeah, we can
yep.
see the plan.
Yep.
We can see just the title block. There you go. Perfect.
I don't know why there's a delay between my Google Drive and the GoToMeeting. I can see the GoToMeeting screen is just like very slowly loading. I don't know what's going on.
I think you have some connectivity issues. All right, thank you, Angela.
The plan that's in front of the commission there. So the garage is located in the lower right hand corner of the property. Like I said, we tried tucking it as close as we could to the driveway. There's a stone planter and some stone walls in the front as you come into the property. We had that, like I said, the 30-foot front yard offset. So we're showing the garage at 31 feet from the front property line. And there's also a utility pole that we're trying to avoid having to move. So we place the driveway in the garage to kind of work with those. And also there's an existing stone wall that separates the upper lawn area from the lower lawn area that we were trying to leave a 10-foot separation between that and the garage to allow for access still to that lower yard area. And then we do show the erosion control barriers around the right-hand side of the limits of disturbance. And you can see the wetlands are off locus to the right, and then they come back onto the property as they come back around the rear of the house and the rear of the property.
Alrighty. This is Chuck Raymond. So 11 feet to the wetlands from the corner of the garage.
Yes, and we looked at a couple different ways to try doing this. We tried twisting the garage some, but what happened is because of all the different offsets to the property line, even if you twisted it, we were still going to come into offset requirements with regards to that front offset, and then maybe get into having to move that retaining wall that stone retaining wall that's on the property, and create more disturbance in the buffer zone than we were really trying to accomplish. So it's not ideal, but this, and on top of that, we looked at the left-hand side, but the left-hand side has the existing septic system, which we located, we show on the plan there. So site constraints really didn't help on this one.
Alrighty. All right, thank you, Wes. I don't have any questions or comments. I'll open up to the commission. Does anybody on the commission have any comments or questions for Wes while we have him? I'll take that as a no. With that, I'll go ahead and open the hearing up to the public. If anybody is on the call and wishes to or has any questions or wishes to speak to the project, please, you're welcome to do so. Please identify yourself and your address before you do. Second time. And third and final time. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Wes, thank you very much. Angela, do you have anything for us or for the applicant?
Hi, this is Angela here. So I did want to bring something to the commission's attention that I had discussed with Wes about the application, is that the existing shed and existing coop, they are right there in the top right corner if you're looking at the plan. Those were never filed for with the Conservation Commission, so technically they are considered a violation as they are not 50 feet away from the wetland. A shed or an additional structure conversion of lawn to usable space is exempt if it's 50 feet away from the wetland. And that was really my only concern and comments in regards to this permit. And I wasn't sure. I was able to drive by quickly today and take a look at the area since we had that lovely snow melt. So I was able to see the site today, but I wasn't sure if any of the commissioners wanted to see the site.
Oh, thank you for this is Chuck Raymond again. Thank you for pointing that out, Angela. I appreciate it. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, if those things are that close, if those are that close to ones, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, Angela and I talked about making that as part of this filing, is to include those two items. Since the applicant didn't know at the time when he put the coop up in the shed for the coop, that he needed to file it with the commission. So we talked about making it an after fact filing or an amendment to this filing to include those items. But yeah, we could obviously we've been lucky enough to get rid of some of the snow. So if you guys want to set up a site walk here, we can do that within the next couple of weeks, hopefully, and then either come back to the next meeting.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind continuing it until the next meeting, and so those of us who are able to or are interested in seeing it can take a look at it. Just to let you know, Wes, I mean, as I'm sure you probably know, there have been instances in the past, not necessarily Leominster, but I've been on conservation commissions before where they've had people rip things down that hadn't been permitted. So just want to let that's always a possibility with things like this. So I just wanted to just toss it out there as a potential for you.
No, when Angela brought it to my attention, I brought it to the attention of the client. So
okay, yeah, no, I wouldn't mind taking a look at that stuff sometime in the next week or two.
Okay.
So Angela, so at this point, do we continue it and try to schedule a meeting out there?
Hi, this is Angela here. Yeah, so we can continue it. I just took a quick peek at the weather because I think we're supposed to get another 12 inches possibly on Thursday night.
No, really that much?
Unfortunately, my son's having, I know, that's what it said when I just looked. I'm hoping that changes. So I don't know if I'll be able to officially schedule something, but if the applicant is okay with the commissioners just stopping by and taking a look.
Yep. And I'll let Barry know that you guys will be stopping by. I know tomorrow's supposed to be gorgeous, so.
I know, so I was like, unfortunately, my son's having a medical procedure done tomorrow, so I'm out of the office. But the commissioners would like to go. I can help them make that connection before the storm.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great. I can't speak for the rest of the commissioners, but I would like to see it myself.
Okay, perfect.
I want to see it. This is Rich Gullick. I want to see it too with you, Chuck. And I'm open all week. It's my safety.
Okay, I'll let Barry to know they expect you guys to be stopping by.
Angela, you gonna arrange a time for us or just stopping by on our own? We're gonna go by together?
If we're trying to push for the snowstorm, I would suggest just stop by on your earliest convenience, and I'll just let Barry know after the meeting tonight that you guys may be poking by the next couple of days before the snow.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, this is Chuck Raymond. I'll try to make it out on Thursday for a few minutes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Wes. Let's make myself some notes. Okay. Angela, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Do we need to make a motion to continue the hearing?
Angela here. Yes, we do need to make a motion to continue the hearing to our March 8th meeting.
March 8th. Thank you. This is can I get a motion to continue the hearing for was it 689 Wachusett Street until the March 8th hearing?
I'll make that motion. This is Rich Gullick.
Thank you, Rich. Second.
This is Liz. I'll second.
I think I heard Jeff first. Thank you though, Liz. I appreciate it.
The buzzer.
This is Angela here. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Elizabeth Ricci Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Michael Siki, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to continue this hearing to our March 8th meeting.
All righty. Thank you, Angela. That's Chuck Raymond again. All right. Moving
you.
on to thank you, Wes. Appreciate it. Moving on, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of the skate park facility, parking and stormwater controls, address 95 Viscaloid Ave, Leominster, Mass, map and parcel 171-2, DP file number 199-11 something. Angela, what's happening with that? No number yet?
Angela here. So we did receive a DEP file number after the agenda was already posted.
Okay.
And due to construction at City Hall, I wasn't able to update it, but the DEP file number is 199-1146.
All right, so DP file number 199-1146. Thank you, Angela. Is there anybody here to represent the project?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Matt Morrow here representing the applicant, which would be the city of Leominster.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Good. Thank you very much. Go ahead and proceed.
Okay, Angela, did you want to share the screen or did you want me to?
I will let you do
great.
it, Matt. It slows down my computer quite a bit when I do it. So.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, so what we have here is a proposed, this is the Frankie Fortuna Memorial Skate Park. As the commission may be aware, this has been a collaborative effort between the Leominster Recreation Department, a very committee made up of some very dedicated people for this, and a lot of labor contributed by local engineers, survey companies, geotechnical drillings were done, and a specialty designer for skate parks. And what we're presenting here is the renewed skate park. Now, as you guys know, there was an existing skate park and a set of tennis courts that were there that have since been removed. And what we're looking to do here is we're proposing to do a new skate park complex along with a parking lot, which you can, I guess you can see my hand waving here, the cursor. So what we have is we have part of the park here and a pump track here. Let me go down a little bit. Go down to the next one. I think it gives you a bit of a better picture. No, those are details. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go up here. Okay, actually, no, this is your best bet right here. So what we have is we have a parking lot here that is essentially I believe it's a 10-space parking lot along with a handicap spot here. We have the pump track and the regular course here. What's going to be under the pump track is actually going to be grass. The pump track itself will be made out of poured concrete. This area here will be made out of poured concrete. There'll be some landscape design and grass basically in between the blank spaces here.
Matt, can I interrupt you for a second?
Please do so.
Hi, this is Chuck Raymond, the chairman. I'm sorry, did you say pump track?
Yeah, it's a skate park term. Essentially, this is going to be, you know what? If I go up to the rendering on the cover, if you just give me a chance to scroll up, I can show.
Real quick, this is Jeff Goyne. Essentially, it's like an empty pool.
Okay.
You can, there's like concrete features that you can kind of, as he says, pump. So you'd bring up your knees and then push down as you descend and
thank you. I'm not into the lingo. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
All right. Well,
Yeah, no
thank you
problem.
for explaining the lingo. I'm not a skate park enthusiast. I should have brought my, I have a 22-year-old that would have known a lot more about this than his father. I flagged basically the wetland here. As a matter of fact, that 22-year-old I referred to gave me some manual labor and helping me with checking out the soils in the area. So give a shout out to my son, Jeremy, for that. Essentially what you have, this is the limit of the proposed work line here. We have a construction staging area here. We have a gravel apron coming out of what is the existing parking lot here. This parking lot is essentially going to be eliminated. You have your erosion protection that's slated to go here. So what we would wind up with is the skate park and the pump track. So you have, again, the wetland resource area here. You would have a small basin here. You have the new parking lot reconfigured this way with a handicapped parking area and a handicapped access. What we wind up with, I think if I go down one more, yep, there we go. That's even better. You have basically catch basins with deep sumps and, hooded sumps with vacuum breakers to prevent anything from being sucked out and going into the wetland. We would have a discharge overland here, and the discharge to a stilling basin here where the water would be stilled. We'd have overflow capacity going out this way, and the normal flows would actually wind up going into the existing culvert that's under here and exits to the wetland out along Carter Street across the street. If you see the corner of Carter and Johnson, there's a little wetland system that's here, and these two are interconnected by a little head wall and a pipe that goes here. So in summary, what you have is you have stormwater-wise for the 100-year storm. I don't know if you guys have a copy of the stormwater report, but the 100-year storm has an existing flow CFS-wise of 5.38 cubic feet per second. The proposed flow actually reduces it to 4.01 cubic feet per second. So the condition is actually markedly improved for that small area. The existing volume of flow, which in acre feet is 0.411, gets reduced to 0.268. That's actually a really good improvement for this redevelopment area. Knocking the velocity and the volume going down to that wetland is a result of the fact, good result of the fact that the actual impervious area pre and post development, and what I mean by pre-development, the existing site actually had the old tennis courts and the old skate park on it, which was removed. It winds up in a reduction of impervious surface of 8,305 square feet. So you're gaining another 8,300 square feet in grass in the area. That helps to contribute to the overall quality of the drainage, the overall quality and reduction of unchecked runoff going into the wetland resource area. It has the usual, these systems are easy to clean. It has the usual stormwater protection planning associated with it. I got to hand it to McCarty Engineers. They did a really nice job balancing out this drainage and coming out with a system that fits in this spot. It's not intrusive to the remainder of the facilities that are on the site, meaning the existing paved basketball courts, the current hillside going to the schools, any of the existing walking paths. It's a really nice compact design with a lot of functionality. That's basically it here. As windy and curvy as the proposal looks, with some busy lines on it, it's actually a pretty basic buffer zone stormwater proposal. So with that, I'll take any questions you have. DEP did issue a file number. The only comment that they had was that they were asking about potential data for any groundwater testing or any ground soil testing that was done in the area where the stilling basin is going. However, to design this area over here, we actually did geotechnical borings. We had Matt Bavenzi's company, GeoSearch, go in, and they voluntarily did a whole bunch of technical borings for us for nothing. We got a really good soils profile of what's in the area. And what we were going to do is essentially confirm that profile in this area here. Even if it was slightly different, the way this basin is designed, it won't really make a difference at all. And that's really the only comment DEP had on this whole design. So with that, I'll leave it to you guys with any questions that you may have. And thank you for letting me do my usual rambling.
Thanks, Matt. This is Chuck Raymond, the chairman. I have two questions. First of all, Jeff, I'm sorry, Matt. So the pump track, whatever, it's basically a concrete line swimming pool.
Yeah.
What happened?
Hey,
what
so
happens
real
to
quick,
water?
real quick, I had to Google it just to make sure I didn't speak out of turn, and I did. It's legit. For what Matt is saying is it's a legit concrete track that has humps that you pump to build speed over, and then bankings. But it sounds like the in-between spaces, while in some cases it is like an empty pool and you can kind of use it as ramps, this design has grass in between. So it is a legit concrete track. In this
Okay,
case.
that least
Yeah.
thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the clarification. So
Sorry about that.
that's okay. Well, what I had in my head was literally like a concrete pool, and my question was, what happens to the water that collects in that? But if that's not the shape, then maybe that question is.
Can you guys see the color
I
rendering here?
see. Got it. Okay. Yep.
That was the color rendering on the title page of the notice of intent that I put in. Let me shrink this down a little
Okay.
bit for you.
Okay.
That's essentially the rendering from Spawn Ranch, who's the engineering designer for the actual park.
Okay.
This is what it's going to look like. I don't know if I switch screens really quick, if I can show you this, but here's I don't know if you can see the existing ortho that I have up now.
Yep.
But that's actually what was there prior to what was torn out. So you basically have the new ramps going here and the pump track basically going here. Your parking essentially going here. This parking lot will be eliminated. The gravel pad, access pad that I showed you for construction is going to be constructed actually right here. Your wetland is essentially right here. And it exits going across the street to Carter Street. So you're going to have your stilling basin here, and you're going to have a discharge that has a series of perforated lines going to a deep sump catch basins that will enter out there. And all the drainage is beautifully balanced. It's actually, I got to hand it to him. McCarty did a really nice job with it. So I hope maybe these visuals help out a little bit.
Thank you, Matt. So that settles the question in my head about what this thing looks like. So it's all above ground. This isn't really a hole in the ground, which is fine.
No, and we had to do the soil compaction testing, the geotechnical borings, to make sure that this thing wasn't going to settle or have anything. They're very fussy about the designs. So
I bet
they did a good couple of very deep holes. So,
all right. That's all right. My other question, and Matt, would it be too much of a pain to go back to the original plans you were showing us initially?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna.
Yep.
You're gonna see my screen do funny things, so I apologize ahead of time.
All righty.
It's just the way I put the package together. I usually put the plans at the end. So, okay. So this is what construction area will look like. We have a construction staging area here. Where you saw the existing parking lot, the gravel pad is here. And what we're going to wind up with, as you saw in the rendering, basically this is the civil engineer version of that same rendering.
Thank you. And this actually leads to my second question. So the drawing between the pump track and the street, what is that?
This?
Yeah.
Okay, if I can go back up to the title page.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Well, hey, it's good training for me to be rapid fire on these share screens. This is it right here. So essentially, you're going to have ramps You know,
Oh,
like
it's-
jump
it's-
ramps.
All right. Okay, so it's an additional aspect of the skate park. Okay, I wasn't sure what that was. All right.
Like I said, I wish I had my 22-year-old here with me. He could have explained it better. He understands the lingo.
Yep. Okay. Wonderful. Those are my only questions. Comments. So I'll open up to the commission. Did anybody in the commission have any comments or questions for Matt while he's here?
Yeah, Matt,
This is Jeffrey. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
okay, this is Mike Siki, Matt. Great project. I mean, it really will benefit the city, and that's a well-used, that as it was a well-used park. Are there no facilities at all for any kind of restroom facilities there? Or are there going to be?
As far as I know, there's no restrooms facilities planned.
Okay.
I'm assuming they could probably do a porta potty on grounds.
Yeah.
You could probably fit it out by the basketball court, keep it away from the buffer zone.
Okay.
You'd have to talk to Judy Sumner about that one. But I mean,
But there's nothing on the plan, so that's what kind of struck me with all the activity that would go on down there. It might be a helpful thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, it would be helpful. I mean, there's a lot of activity with youth there now. And there's no toilet facility. So, yeah, I mean, I'll talk to Judy about a couple of porta potties strategically placed.
If I may though, that unless we're talking, septic tanks, that's not really a conservation commission purview type of item. But it's a good question, but it's not said there really doesn't really fall into the Concom arena as far as I'm concerned. Michael, do you have any other questions or comments?
None more. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. And Jeff, did you have a question?
Yeah, I think he said it already, but just to reiterate, Matt, did you say that we are adding more grass space and taking out impervious space?
You're gaining
Thank you.
8,300 square feet of pervious surface now. So you're
That's
reducing
right.
pre and post development for what was there and what will be there is an 8,300 square feet gain of grass. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, just wanted to hear those numbers again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Anybody else?
Hi, this is Judy Sumner. If you look at the,
Judy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Judy, please. I can identify yourself, please.
oh, I'm Judy Sumner. I'm the Recreation Director.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And if you look at the drawings, we had decided at this time to only go with 9 parking spaces. In the drawing, this particular rendition shows more than 9, but the plans that McCarty Engineering put together has the correct 9 spaces in it.
She's correct. And I believe I went over that with you guys a little earlier. I thought it was 9 or 10. But that answers my question. It's 9. You have a handicapped access here and a handicapped parking space. And essentially you have a total of 9 spaces.
And
Judy,
I
just so
do-
you know, I showed them the rendering so they could see what the surface area in between the track would look like because the drawing didn't show it enough.
There has been some discussion in that design regarding the grass in the area on the inside of the pump track. Various people believe that the grass won't survive with all the traffic going on in there. And I had spoke to other people that have designed skate parks, and they had recommended that we put in some bark mulch in there. And then around the drainage, we put in some stone around that, maybe some river rock or things of that nature. So that I don't know if that will make a difference in terms of conservation if we put in bark mulch as opposed to grass in some of those areas to help stabilize it, because my concern was that if it's grass and then it becomes mud because it's trampled on, then it's going to go into the drainage. So that was just a concern that we had a few discussions on. So I didn't know what your recommendations were on that.
Well, honestly, guys, this is Matt again. In my experiences in dealing with either using mulch or grass, it has the same effect. It's still going to have the same porosity as the grass would. You'll still have the same cleansing effect, and actually, the mulch will be a more stabilizing surface. So, she's worried about user friendliness or potential to be beat up on, then she actually has an excellent point. And I honestly, unless you guys want it to be grass, I don't see an issue with it. That's my own personal opinion. I've dealt with it in many different occasions.
No, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. No, it's, at least on a speaking personally, impervious is impervious as far as I'm concerned. I don't think whether it was grass or mulch will make much of a difference, but I'll leave the final determination of that up to Angela. But I think and anything this side of concrete or clay would probably suffice. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. At this point, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. If there's anybody on the call that wishes to speak on the matter, please feel free to do so now. Just before you do start speaking, identify yourself and your address, please. Second time? And third and final time. All right, since nobody is here to speak on it, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion. Angela, what would you suggest at this point?
Hi, this is Angela here. So at this point, my recommendation would be for the commission to issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 1991146 with our typical boilerplate with the additional conditions about an erosion control inspection at least 48 hours before groundbreaking or construction begins, as well as a pre-construction meeting, and then bi-weekly check-ins and site inspections will be scheduled with either the conservation agent or a member of the Conservation Commission during construction.
All right, thank you, Angela. With that, is there do I get a motion regarding the agent's recommendation?
This is Liz. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Liz. Do I have a second?
This is Mike Seiki. I'll second that.
Thank you, Michael.
This is Angela here. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Jeffrey Goyne, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Richard Gulick, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 1991146 with our typical boilerplate and the additional special conditions.
All righty. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
You betcha. Have a good one.
Good. Just one more thing real quick.
Sure.
Before I sign off, because I have to go to another meeting. The Lock Drive, I will have something for your March meeting. Both Mr. Oldfield and myself were down with COVID-19. I actually got it after he did. And I actually just started getting back on my feet the middle of last week. So we're playing catch up and we will have something for you guys.
Thank you, Matt. How you feeling? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's a lot better than feeling like I want to be squeezed out like a tube of toothpaste. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had it just after Christmas time, and it was to me it was just a bad head cold. But I know it's all over the map. So I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Again, thank you very much, and I'll see you at the next meeting. I got an RDA coming in front of you. So
okay, sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
Take care.
You too. All right. Moving on to the next new hearing. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a new residential driveway to service a new residential dwelling with drainage infrastructure. Address Harwood Terrace, Leominster, Mass. Map and parcel 413-19. DP file number 199-11 something something. Angela, do we need to continue, or did you get a late number?
Sorry, excuse my laundry machine. Angela here. So I have not received a DEP. It's timing, always timing for me. I haven't received a DEP file number yet, but I do see Mr. Hannigan is here. So we can most definitely open it and then just continue it to the next meeting, if that's okay with everyone.
Fine with me. I'm good with it. As long as he's here.
Yeah, so
All right, let me.
I presume you're gonna let me go through the project first, or you want to just continue?
No, you're going to do a hearing. Well, then we're just going to continue a decision until the next meeting.
All right. So for the record, Bill Hannigan with Hannigan Engineering. Chris Anderson did most of this work, but he has another meeting tonight, and Josh Bernanke is here as well. I'm not sure if there'll be any questions for him, but basically he's purchased this lot. In the back of the property, there is a septic system and a new house configuration will propose well. So this will be where the dwelling lies and where most of the activity would take place. Right now, if you're familiar with the site, at the very end of Harwood Terrace, there's a cart path basically that goes through the woods up in this area here, kind of follows my cursor back into this area and then continues through the site up in this area here. What the Bernanke family would like to do is they're going to be building a house back here. They want to improve the driveway along this entire stretch. Right now, it's probably about a 6 to 8 to 10 foot wide cart path, really not traversable by by a family vehicle. It's fine for construction equipment, etc. But they are proposing to build a new driveway. So what we've done is we've taken a look at the need for the driveway. We're providing a width of the driveway. I'll zoom in a little closer. The 12-foot driveway width, and what we're doing is periodically we're providing little bump outs to allow that if he's coming home and his wife's shooting out somewhere to do whatever she's going to be doing, they have the ability to pull over, say hello to each other, and then continue on their way. So you can see in here right now, if you go up to the site, there's an existing couple of small stone walls that come in here. They're going to take those down and kind of clean up the entrance so that there's an existing catch basin located in this area, which allows the water to flow from one side of the road to the other. We're going to basically just reset that to be more at natural grade. Right now, it's sticking up above grade by about 2.5 feet. So they're going to relay that pipe to provide a better flow or not stir up erosion, and provide a riprap pad as well in that area there. The driveway on the southwest side of the driveway, we're going to be creating a stone line swale depression to basically pick up all the water that flows from the west down the slope to the wetland itself. And then from there, that would transmit out to, there'd be a retaining wall in this area here with a crushed stone outlet area, 6-inch depression to allow some settlement before it overflows into the wetlands. We did try to pull back further. This is a 2-to-1 slope, but essentially in order to build the drainage feature for the driveway and to allow it to be constructed, the driveway location existing, or the cart path, is right about in here. So we basically have to fill out into this area by about 5 or 6 feet of elevation, and then we have to then try to make that up. So we're trying to keep this as a 2-to-1 slope to allow good vegetation to be grown in that area for permanent stability versus going to riprap and making it less traversable by wildlife, etc. So those areas are proposed to have silt fence and straw wattles along the entire limit of clearing. And I'm sure that during construction, we'll probably have to put potentially a double set in here once we get down there and figure out what trees need to be removed and try to maintain as many as we can. But this is the basic premise, that we would grade off the driveway. We have an existing drain here, proposing a new one here, which will pick up and transmit, pick up the water that's transmitted from the north and the south. There's a couple of small bleeder lines here for low flow conditions to allow the water to bleed out, just so that if there are puddles and pools that form, we don't get mosquitoes that get that type of growth that you end up with. And there may be, we're showing 2 right now, depending upon where the water bleeds through the slope in this area. We may add 1 or 2 along the way, but the intention is to show how they would be constructed in case we need more than just the 2 in that area. As we go up a little further, there's an area that drains off the hill now. that we think would be better served by a small settling area prior to grabbing the water and discharging it. That area goes into an existing swale, which heads down towards the abutting property. And this is the wetland that was reviewed and worked with on the abutting property off of Hillary Road. So this would be maintained, but just kind of allow a little bit of capture prior to discharge. Outside the buffer zone, but still part of the overall project. We realize there's not a file number, but be more than happy to try to take a look at any questions that you have. And as was stated earlier, with the snowstorm coming this Friday, it'd be really good if we could get out there and take a look at this tomorrow or Thursday, if people are available, and we can try to coordinate. I know Angela's going to be out, but if we can coordinate that, we can coordinate that through my office if needed. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take a look at them.
Had myself on mute. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate your time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've got very limited availability between now and Thursday, but we can do what we can. I was going to go out to the Wachusett Street site myself for a few minutes on Thursday morning. Maybe I can drop by this one as well. But in terms of questions, Angela, this is more of a question for you. I see on, it's like halfway-ish down the driveway, Bill, you've got that concrete head wall and outlet with crushed stone.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, what do you by crushed stone? Do you mean more like gravel type of stuff? What do you mean by crushed stone?
That'd be rock more than anything.
Some more cobble than anything, really.
Yeah, it'll be the same. It'll be the same stuff we use on the riprap aprons.
Okay, all right. Yeah, when I hear crushed stone, I'm thinking more gravelish. So okay.
So this is 15-inch minimum size for the pipe ends. It's a mastic deck. Okay, so that would be the same stone. We can adjust that note to reflect that, but that's really the intention.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just change that note, that'd be good, just to avoid any confusion. Because I know if I thought that, other people might think the same thing. Yep. And the question for you, Bill, also between the new proposed driveway and the wetlands, what is there now? Is that all woods?
It is all woods. Yeah.
Is it going to remain woods as much as possible, other than throwing a driveway through?
Well, we're gonna have to clear to cut the trees out in this area here. There are some hills in here that aren't going to be able to be. If we tried to save trees in this area, they would end up not surviving because we'd be covering the roots and covering the trunks. So we haven't come up with a plan as of how this would be landscaped, but where it's a 2-to-1 slope, I would presume we probably can throw some trees in there. Josh is on the line. I'm sure he'd like to have some trees in there as well, add into some of that, and then probably some native vegetative species along the slope that would provide some slope stabilization. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, my only concern there is that area around that the area we were just talking about with the crushed stone, where you end up right near the wetlands there. I'd like to see as much of that vegetated as possible.
Could I mention something there, Chuck?
Dual purpose.
Yes, go ahead, Bill. Hold on. So, Bill, you all set?
Yeah, it's dual purpose though. Part of it is that we want to have velocity mitigation for any flow coming out of there. So it might be that we can add some trees, but we got to make sure that it's stable as well. And that might be something that during construction or just prior to construction, before they cut the trees down, we're able to take a better look at it. So I think that and Angela and I have done this before, where we flag the limits of clearing and then walk it. And any trees along the edge that can be saved, we try to save. And at the same time, if there are trees that are 5 feet into the woods that are dead and dying and gonna fall, we have them cut down while just to the stump. We don't rip them out, but just cut the grade so that there's not a need to or they don't fall across the driveway or fall across anything in the future. So I think
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that the velocity reduction with the stone there. My only concern really is that the area of the woods that's getting cut out for it. The part that would then be outside the drainage area. Just right in there exactly. Yeah, and you can always you can work with Angela as you get closer. Just like you said, Bill, work with Angela in terms of what you can do in there to revegetate the area. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm sorry, the homeowner, I'm sorry, your name again was?
Josh Brennicky.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to clarify the existing state of the vegetation there. There's really only Darlene and I both walked to the property yesterday to get an idea of what trees were in kind of an area where we would potentially impact by clearing. And the only clearing that we would be doing is out of necessity. It's not, we love the woods. We want to keep as much of it as we can. So we're only taking down things that are absolutely mandatory that we have to. We want to keep as much as possible. That's just a guiding principle through the entire project, whether it's by the house or on the driveway. There's really only one tree on that side, and it's fairly close to where the edge of the road is going to be, which right now is suspended in the, I mean, the tree is going to be significantly lower. It's currently significantly lower than the driveway surface is going to be, and it's right next to where the driveway is going to be. So it would be essentially buried. So that's really the only one that would have to come out, and it's not a significantly large tree. But that's the only one. There's really only one in that space that's maybe larger than, I would say, 12-inch diameter. And all
Okay.
the other ones are small 1-2 inch saplings.
Sure, no, I appreciate that. That's good information. And like I said, I between you and Bill and the agent, when it gets closer to, you know, when it comes time for all this to happen, that you can work together on a revegetation plan. That's perfectly fine. That's all I had. I'll open up to the commission. And anybody else on the commission have any comments or questions for Bill or the homeowner while you're here, or while they're here?
We
Nothing.
know, this is Mike Seki. I'm sorry, Chuck, this is Mike Seki. I would like to take a ride out there tomorrow. If there's if Angela, if you're gonna be out there, if we could coordinate it and you're gonna go out, I'd like to take a ride with you or drive out and meet you there.
You're gonna see my calendar. I'm gonna put my calendar up because I want to see who's around tomorrow.
I'll join you, Mike. This is Rich Gullick. Tomorrow.
Yeah, so I could.
Like, I
could-
can most definitely go. I have my son's appointment's at 11:30 and he will be with me. So
So I could go out in the morning, anytime in the morning, if anybody wants to come. If anyone I mean, I'll splash my number out there after but if you want to call the office, and I can go out, you know, say 8:30 to 10. I have a 10 o'clock meeting, and then I can go out after in the afternoon after 3. So anytime, if any, you know, and I don't mind going out a couple of times if people want to go out and see it.
Pick a time.
What's good for you, Mike?
I'm retired, so I can, as Mike Seki, I'm retired, so I can pretty much make it around your schedule.
Want to do 8:30?
9?
Sure.
How about 9?
How about 9?
9 sound good?
Sounds fine to me.
All right, so we'll meet up at the entrance at 9 o'clock. And then we'll walk you through what we're thinking and how we're gonna do it. And then hopefully between now and the next meeting, we get our DEP file number and we're in good shape.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good.
See you tomorrow at 9.
All right, thank you guys. And Jeff or Liz, any comments or questions?
This is Jeffrey Goyne. One quick comment. Won't be able to make the site walk tomorrow. Would like to, but won't be able to make it. I don't see any utilities, any sewer connection, water connection, any of that sort of thing. They're going to be going up the driveway or?
A septic system and a well.
Okay.
And Josh, I do believe are we running electric underground?
Yes.
Okay, so the electric would be run basically under the driveway. We'd have a pole out here and go down underneath it and have to put that in the driveway.
Adjacent to it, yep. Yeah, National Grid is working on the plan for that right now, and they're going to incorporate the two together. But it'll essentially be in a buffer zone right next to the driveway. We couldn't do it under the driveway because then you have to encase the entire thing in concrete, the entire 750-foot driveway length, and that's pretty challenging to do. So,
it's likely going to be on the east side of the driveway then.
Correct.
The downhill side.
Yep. And because it's all going to be backfill,
yeah,
it shouldn't impact the project at all because we're going to have to be backfilling that space anyway to step it up on the steep elevation.
All righty, good, thank you.
Is there a different time that you'd want to go out since you can't make the morning?
Unfortunately, I have a asphalt certification class that goes the next 3 days. So no, unfortunately.
All right. Just figured I'd offer. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
Alrighty. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. At this point, I'll go ahead and open it up to the public. If there's anybody in the public that wishes to speak on the proposed project, please do so now, but identify yourself by name and address, please. Second time? And third and final time. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close the hearing for now. This portion of it, it's going to have to be
Could
continued.
you not close it, please? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I'm sorry. It is not closed. I just meant this portion of it, because we don't have DEP file number, so we still need to vote on it after we get the number. So can I get a motion to continue the hearing and to the next meeting?
This is Mike
This is
Siki. I'll
Liz.
make a motion to continue the hearing till the next meeting.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
This is Liz, I'll second.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, Bill, no, I just meant to close this portion of it with the realization that we do have to continue it. So, all right, Angela.
This is Angela here. The rest of the vote will be done by a roll call. Jeffrey Goyne, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Richard Gulick, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to continue this hearing to our March 8th meeting.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And Angela, you can go back to the, there we go. Wonderful, thank you. So that's it for our new hearings. Moving on to continued hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a single-family dwelling with associated driveway. Address 0 Lakeshore Drive, map and parcel 144 and 472-51-3, DEP file number 199-1144. Before I open this, Michael, do you want to go ahead and recuse yourself?
This is Michael Siki. I'll be recusing myself from this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. And do we have a representative of the project to speak to the matter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm Greg Roy with Dillison Roy. I am here to present on behalf of Mr. Siki.
Good to see you again, Mike. Greg, how are you?
You as well. Very well, thank you.
Good. Proceed.
So should I share my screen, Angela? Would you like to do that?
Angela here. So for some reason, if I start sharing the screen, it gives me weird connectivity issues. So I think I'm
I see it
the
here.
presenter.
Yeah, I see it.
Perfect. If you don't mind, thank you.
It was right in front of me and I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so can everybody see my screen here with the plan? Okay.
We can. Thank you.
Great. So we were before you last time, I think it was 4 weeks ago, to open the project. And I think Jack Maloney from my office gave you a presentation about what was involved, but just real brief here, just to refresh everybody's memory, because it's been a few weeks. We're proposing a recreational building that you can see here, the rectangle. And there's historically been two structures on the property. They've been removed from the property a number of years ago, but one of them existed in this area right here where I'm circling. Another one was further up, further down, I guess I'll say, on the peninsula. The entire area, most of the area that we're proposing to work in is disturbed already, and so we're only proposing a few trees to be removed, and I'll go over that a little bit more in detail. The other work proposed is really to provide access down to the back of the structure, and then ultimately to the water for use by the family. And we're proposing a short retaining wall here to do a couple of things. One, to separate to make the grading work here and not have to disturb further down towards the lake. But secondly, as a consequence to that wall, we'd be providing some permanent demarcation there for and allow that area below the wall to vegetate. Mr. Siki has worked under an emergency order from your commission to do some shoreline stabilization, which has already occurred, or at least has commenced. I don't think that work is complete because I think we got into the snowfall and the winter conditions. He is intending to proceed with more shoreline stabilization around the point area here, which I'm showing in the sort of vertical hatching area. So we did receive some comments from the commission 4 weeks ago. And also Mr. Siki has been doing a lot of work with New England wet plants to look at what types of species would be appropriate for both the shoreline stabilization work and then also to replant some of the trees that we are proposing to remove. And again, I'll explain that in a second. So we have issued a revised plan late last week, dated the 18th, as well as a cover letter that would summarize the proposed changes to the plan that we made in the interim between the last meeting and now. And really, we made three changes. The first change is related to the sort of cleaning up and clarifying our proposal for the shoreline stabilization work. And again, that would be from this polygonal shaped riprap area all the way around the point you can see here in the vertical hatched area. And we've added a detail, which I've misspelled. I do apologize for that. But we've showed on here how we intend to stabilize that slope. So there's pretty significant bank undercutting that's occurred over the years. And so we intend to do a combination of structural riprap, and by structural, naturally occurring rock, but larger rocks that will anchor that slope and prevent it from washing out in the future. Above that, we intend to do a naturalized solution where we put some straw wattles, some biologs in there. And then above that, we'd restore the slope of the planting medium, and we'd plant all kinds of native shrubs and plantings in there. And we provided a list off here in the upper left-hand corner of the screen here of the species that we're proposing to use for that restoration effort. So the ones that you can see here that are in the number 1 pot, those are all shrubs, and those are the ones that would be used really low on the planting, low elevation wise in the slope restoration. The last 4 here, balsam fir, gray birch, hazelnut, and box elder, those are a tree species, and those would be planted further up slope, but we have a little bit more soil to work with to support the root masses that will occur over time. So that was the first change. The second change, I guess I kind of talked about two. One of them was to add the planting schedule, but the third change was also to add a few trees that we're proposing to remove. There are 4 trees right along the water that have a pretty significant lean towards the water. And the previous proposal and still currently, we are proposing to take a few oak trees down right in this area here, just to be able to construct the house and the walkway to the back of the property. While we're on site for that tree removal, we think it's prudent to remove the leaning trees that lean into the water, just to prevent them from falling into the water and then having to, the aggravation and difficulty of removing those out of the water. So there's 4 trees. There's a 16-inch pine right here. There's a 16-inch oak. There's a 10-inch maple, and there's a 36-inch pine, all of which have a pretty significant lean towards the water that we're proposing to take as part of this project as well. And that's the reason why we're proposing the 4 different species of trees that would be restored, so that we can provide you with the area with some mitigation for the loss of those trees. So We'd be reintroducing a canopy, species of trees that would have some canopy and some shade type characteristics to them to mitigate the loss of those trees. I think that let me just pull up my cover letter here just to make sure I hit everything. But we added the slope restoration detail. We cleared up the limits of the proposed slope restoration. We added the proposed planting list, which are all native plants, and then we added the additional 4 trees that are to be removed from the plans. And so that was it. We did receive a file number. We did not get any comments relative to that with DEP. So with that, I'll take any questions that the commission may have. I don't want to speak out of turn, Mike. Did you want to share? Mr. Siki might have some additional things to share.
Oh, I always have comments. This is Mike Siki. Yeah, I think what we're doing is becoming stewards of this property. The disturbance has happened for many years, and there's a spillway across from the tip of the peninsula. I provided a PowerPoint that's in that Angela has that shows the undercutting of the bank and the difficult situation that peninsula is in now. The hydraulic pull from that spillway is pulling Fall Brook from the west side and a bunch of springs from the right side. And it's just going to continue to make matters worse there. The trees that are leaning, I've been approached by several of the residents saying that there's no power boats out there any longer. So they kayak out there and and paddleboard, and they're concerned that there's a public safety issue for them as they're going by. So I want to, as much as they're leaning, it's a safety issue to me as well. With that, we're looking for an outdoor the property is zoned for outdoor recreation, where it's not going to be a residence. It's basically a place where we can go and enjoy the fruits of our labors and the beauty of that peninsula and be able to store our goods safely. So there's a PowerPoint out there with some photos and other things that you can look at, but that's basically it. We're leaving. I'd have to get the exact measurements, but I think we have 1,700 feet of waterfront property, and we're talking about the very tip is all we're ever going to disturb. The rest is going to be completely natural forever. You're on mute, Chuck.
Did it again. Sorry about that. I pride myself in not doing that. I've done it twice tonight. You all set, Michael and Greg?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll open up to the commission for any comments or questions. Doesn't sound like there are any. Thank you very much. So I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing portion. If there's anybody from the public who wishes to speak on the matter, you're welcome to do so now, but please identify yourself by name and address. Second time? And third and final time. All right, with that, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of the hearing. Angela, what do you have for us at this point?
Angela here. So at this time, after reviewing everything and working with Mr. Siki and Mr. Roy, it is my recommendation that the commission issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 1991144 with our typical boilerplate. And then in addition to that, special conditions of, I can't read my chicken scratch, an erosion control and pre-construction meeting 48 hours in advance of work starting, as well as site grading and construction will be scheduled to avoid periods of high surface water. And once it's begun, grading and construction shall continue in an expeditious manner to minimize the opportunity for erosion, as well as the agent or one of the members of the commission will be going out every 2 weeks for erosion control inspections as work is continuing.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. This is Chuck. Quick question. Can you add a special condition that for the 4 trees are going to be taken out that they keep the stumps? Just to
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
So to keep the stumps for the 4 marked trees.
For the, I think it's the 4 trees, I think that are coming out that are leaning over the lake. That'd be good.
This is Rich Gullick. Could you please define leave the stumps as in how far above the ground? Because somebody may be questioning that when they're out there with the chain.
But that's fair enough. I'd say, Angela, what do you think? 2 foot, no more than a 2-foot stump?
So I'll leave that up to Mr. Siki and the commission. You know, if dead tree stumps, they do provide wildlife habitat. They do provide eagle perches and bird perches. So if you have one that's, I say to me 6 feet high, obviously I know that's not that high, but like it really depends on what the goal is here. If it's just for erosion control, then 2 feet would be fine. But if the property owner and the commission would like to consider the wildlife habitat, we could do 10 to 12 feet as well, depending on how far they're leaning.
Okay, I don't want to get too specific for each one of the trees at this point, but I think if you were to leave a stump maybe no taller than 6 to 10 feet, I ideally no shorter than 2 feet. So
Between 2 and 10 feet.
sounds good.
And any comment from, this is Rich again, from Mike or Greg on that? Did you have a go?
The intent was to leave the stumps. They're providing root structure there and importance. So there's never a desire to yank the stumps out and disturb the shoreline.
Very good.
Wonderful. All right, good. Thank you.
The birdhouse is on.
So with that, we'll go ahead and make a motion for the boilerplate and special conditions as outlined by the agent. Do I have a motion?
This is Liz. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Liz. Do I have a second?
This is Jeffrey Goin. I'll second.
Thank you, Jeff.
This is Angela. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Richard Gullick, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And just let the record show that Michael Siki has recused himself, and so his vote will not be counted. So the motion carries to issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 199-1144 Lakeshore Drive, with our typical boilerplate and the special conditions as discussed.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Appreciate it too. And with that, Michael, do you want to come back on the commission?
And this is Mike Siki. I will be unrecusing myself, if that's a word.
You're still going to figure that word out.
Yeah, I will be rejoining the meeting.
Just recuse, I don't know, whatever the word is. Anyway, all right, good. Thank you. Moving on then to the second of our continued hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the removal of a fixed dock and replacement with a floating dock. Address 27 Elm Street, map and parcel 121-5. Still waiting on a DEP number, no update. Angela, that's basically it, right?
Yes. At this time, I'm trying to figure out what the next point is. I haven't really heard anything from the homeowner. Haven't heard anything from the state. Last time I spoke to the state DEP, the circuit rider, she said most likely they sent the check to the wrong place and that they would look into it, and I never heard anything back. So.
No, also here we are. All right, so do I have a motion to continue the hearing for 27 Elm Street?
This is Mike Siki. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
This is Jeffrey Goin. I'll second.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
This is Angela. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Richard Gullick, how do you vote?
Vote aye.
Thank you. And Elizabeth Ricci Blair, how do you vote?
Vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to continue this to our next meeting on March 8th.
All right, thank you, Angela. All right, moving on to new business. Proposed winter delineation review policy. So Angela, you sent it to the city solicitor for review.
Hi, yes, Angela here. Yes, so I did send an email with the kind of draft that I worked with a couple other agents basing off their winter delineation review policy, and I did send it off to Copeland and Page just to make sure that it was legally enforceable, as well as that we kind of had all our ducks in a row and covered. It does become very difficult. You know, for example, last week on Friday, I got 7 new permits, and they all wanted to schedule site inspections right in the middle of the snow. And then we go out to the site, we approve the erosion control line based on what we see there, based on winter vegetation that's visible. And the spring comes and we see, oh, there's about 15 feet of wetland that we completely missed, that now we can no longer protect because we issued an order of conditions. And it's very difficult to revoke an order of conditions in that situation because we approved it. We went to the site, we looked at it, and it's kind of falls on the commission's error, as well as it does become very difficult safety wise. There's been situations where they mark out erosion controls, they mark out where the building's going to be, and I'll go up and take a look, and I'm walking, and just the day I kind of slipped through and fell through the ice a little. It was only a couple of feet, but if it had been any deeper, it could have been a very bad situation, especially where I'm out on site visits a lot by myself. Excuse me. As well, it's not ideal for the site. So the city solicitor, they responded to my email on Thursday that they had sent it to a specific lawyer to review. And so I should be getting, we'll most likely get a response as soon as this meeting's over.
Alrighty, thank you. Keep us posted on that. Anybody in the commission have any comments on that the winter delineation review policy?
I would, Chuck. This is Rich Gullick.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read, I would hesitate to support this policy. I think it's too long a time period and that it's not responsive enough. Doesn't quite follow our mission to really help support these applicants to move things through. I went and looked at the recommendation from DEP, and I noted that some of this quotes exactly up at the top, and it mentions Mass DEP recommends that resource area delineations be avoided and deep snow cover, deep freeze conditions exist. What actually was written by DEP is be avoided, quote, if possible, unquote. So, to me, that was a key part of that sentence, the if possible. I would prefer that we just, when the weather's not right, we don't do the inspections. You just can't delineate, but not set a specific time frame where it puts the responsibility on the other party to show why they should be able to do it, as opposed to us as to why we shouldn't be able to go out and do it. I think that should stay our responsibility to do that. So that's my take.
Thank you, Rich. Anybody else?
If I can add one more thing, I'll read one more part from this. The DEP said, yeah, in terms of the concept, looking for the sentence. They say it's best for applicants and commissions to agree upon a reasonable time period for continuing the RDA or NOI process in order to conduct a boundary delineation when the conditions are likely to change. So they're really recommending folks work together between the commissions and the applicants, not just kind of block them out unless they can prove we shouldn't go out. Weather's good this week. We're going to go out and look, right? If it works, it works. That's sorry, Angela. I know you worked on this a bunch. That's my take on it. Thank you, Chuck.
No, you're welcome, Rich. I appreciate that. No, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I do agree that we do owe a response, owe it to the public to be responsive as we can. But ultimately, our responsibility is to protect the wetland resources of Leominster, and I think if that's best suited to wait until conditions are suitable to actually do a decent wetland delineation, I have no problem with that.
Chuck, this is Rich again. That's what I'm saying doesn't go against what you just said.
Okay.
DEP isn't recommending these 4 months be blocked out. That's not their recommendation.
And I don't think that was Angela's recommendation either. It was more to follow the DEP policy.
DEP does not recommend that particular period. They say we should be working with the applicants to determine, when will it be good. So when it's not going to go out, we just don't do it. We can continue it until until the time is right for the weather condition.
All right, well, the matter's not gonna get settled tonight anyway. The Angel's gotta hear back from the city solicitor. So we'll continue the conversation. And anybody else have any comments or questions? All righty, Angela, so we just, at this point, we just wait for you to hear back from the solicitor?
Yes, Angela here. Yes, we just wait for the response from the city solicitor, and then we can vote it into policy, or not to vote it into policy. But I also wanted to clarify, it's not blocking out that time. There is a chance for variation. But the reason that I think it's really important for us to have a winter delineation policy is because an applicant can deny us continuing a project and force us to make a decision. And then that can lead to an appeal process where then we end up with your agent in Worcester at DEP going through an appeals process for 4 hours of one of my days, which then can also go to court if nothing can go on. I had one DEP appeal process that went on before COVID for 75 days, plus I think it was 10 months. The permit was filed in 2018. They just started constructing the house this year. 644 Pleasant Street, if you remember, Liz. It's a very long one, as well as if we don't have this policy, we don't really have anything to back us up saying, oh no, we can't do a site inspection because the snow is there. Well, technically you still can delineate a wetland in the snow, so there's no reason for us not to do a site inspection unless we have a winter delineation policy. And I did actually have a very interesting discussion with an engineer 2 weeks ago, which kind of spurred this, was because she asked if I had a policy. I said, we do not. I'm like, but if it's weather dependent, if the weather doesn't allow us to do a site inspection before the meeting, we're not going to be able to. And she said, well, then you're going to have to just vote on the project. She's like, my applicant will not accept a continuance. They want the project done.
Angela,
so
this
it's one of those things. It's kind of, they can ask for variance. I'm still speaking. They can ask me through the email and say, oh, the weather is going to be good this week. We don't have any snow. Can we do a site inspection? I put it in writing. Yes, we can. And then the commission can still do a site inspection. So I just wanted to clarify that.
This is Rich again. If the problem is deep snow conditions or deep freeze conditions, why can't we just have a policy saying we won't do inspections and delineations under those conditions, as opposed to December 1st, April 1st? Even note that DEP finishes that section of these winter policies of saying when deep snow conditions do not exist, it may be possible to delineate the BVW boundaries during the winter using twigs, buds, and other vegetative indicators. We're not suggesting to block out the whole winter.
Well, Rich, if I may, this is Jeffrey Goyen. From what I read from Angela's submission to us is that we can do it per her language. We can do it between those times. It says not typically. So you can still get it done if the weather permits. There's no deep freeze, such like that. Those aren't blocked. They're just strongly suggested that they work outside of those times. And then we can work with the applicant if the weather is good, if conditions are, apt to kind of delineate that sort of stuff. But I don't read that as being completely blocked out.
Oh, I don't read it as completely blocked out either. This is Rich again, but it puts the onus on the applicant instead of us. So, thanks, guys.
All righty. Okay, so next up is we'll wait to hear from Angela and the solicitor, and we'll continue the conversation. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, everybody. Moving on, no old business. And moving on to certificate of compliance, 27 Nass Farm Road, DEP file number 199-957. They are looking for a partial certificate of compliance. Angela, please regale us.
So I don't believe any of the commissioners other than Liz were here when Nass Farm Road was built. So for the roadway and the cul-de-sac, they had to obviously pull a permit. At the time, everything was one lot. And so this house is up at the way tippity top. It's, I think my job, it's 455 feet away from the wetlands. We've actually issued certificates of compliance for 2 houses, which one is that? I believe it's 30 already was issued and 27 was already issued. I'm sorry, 30 and 26 was already issued. And so this is the final one. It's DEP file number 199-957, which actually stretches across the entire parcel, unfortunately. So it's tying up this home. They're trying to close out on a sale and they can't because the old DEP file number for the roadway is on their title. And even though there's no wetlands or resource area on site, they are unable to close it until we issue a partial certification for this address.
Alrighty, Angela, what are your thoughts on the regulatory aspect of that? Does that sound like it passes muster?
Yes, this actually something that happens quite often, especially with older files. We're actually have a number of them coming up. Actually, I just did a records request for one on Jamestown Road that they had 77 partials for lots that were not in the wetlands, in the wetland resource area buffer zone that they had to issue back in the 90s. 77 partial COCs they had to issue because it's just a simple process mistake and clerical mistake that these houses, that gets recorded on them.
Alrighty. Okay, thank you, Angela.
You're welcome. And just so everyone knows, on the 8B form, that's the response to the 8A form for requests for certificate of compliance, there actually is a spot for us to do partial COC.
Okay.
Because of this has been happening for decades and it's just an irksome thing for the titles.
All right, thank you. Anybody in the commission have any questions or comments for Angela? Alrighty, Angela.
I'm sorry, Chuck, I was just thinking about that because I had not heard of a partial certificate of compliance. It's Mike Siki, by the way.
Yep.
That has to be pretty well defined on that form, correct? Exactly what?
So the way
Yeah, help me understand that, please.
Sure, hold on, I can bring up the form here if my box would move over everything. So on the form for the 8B, it is very defined. It's literally a box that I check off and we put the address, so it would be 27 Mass Farm Road, and compliance only applies to this lot. And I go into the, when I do it is I go into the older file and I reference the plan number as well as the lot number that's on the accepted plan, just so that none of the other lots can kind of sneak in under it.
Sneak under it. That's okay. That's okay. Thank you. You don't have to bring up the form. I just never heard that term before. Partial.
Thank you. Sorry, my city laptop's very slow some days.
All right, thank you. Good question. Anybody else have any thoughts on the matter? Angela, is this something we need to open up to the public?
Angela here. No, it is not.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. With that, then I will ask for a motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance for 27 Nass Farm Road, DP file number 199-957.
This is Liz. I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Do I have a second?
That was Mike Siki. I'll second it.
I got caught Michael first. Thank you, Michael. Angela, to you.
This is Angela here. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Richard Gullick, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Jeffrey Goyne, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to issue a partial certificate of compliance for 27 Nass Farm Road, DEP file number 199957.
All righty. Thank you, Angela. All right, moving on to extension permits, 96 Exchange Street. Yet again, Heron's Landing 2, 199, DP file number 199-1061. Extended expiration date of July 3rd to 2022. Continuing until springtime. Angela, the continuing saga, what's happening with this?
Angela here. So at this time, they're not doing any work. They can't do any work until they put the erosion controls in. They can't put the erosion controls in because the ground is too frozen. And it seems that some of the residents in the area are actually removing them. So I'm waiting for Mr. Morrow and Kent Oldfield, who Mr. Morrow did disclose at the beginning of the meeting that he had just gotten over COVID. So I'm waiting for them to kind of contact me once the erosion controls are in, and I can do a site inspection. And then the commission may issue if they'd like the extension permit.
All right, so there's nothing we have to do in terms of making a motion here tonight, correct?
Correct.
All right, good, thank you. All right, moving on then, nothing under communications, under meeting minutes. We've got 4 to vote on ideally. I looked at them. I wasn't here for the 2 hearings in 2020. And that's the minutes you sent us for September 28th, Angela, were not minutes. They were a notice about turkeys.
Yes,
And,
I apologize.
So the only one I was here for was the one from November 23rd. Does anybody have any comments or questions about any of these while we're on the topic?
This is Rich Gullick. I went through the ones for November 23rd, 2021, and I had a few questions as to some odd wording. That was Angela or somebody else could figure out. So how would you want to go through it? I sent Angela a track edit of it.
No, Angela, can you pull up what Rich sent you? So is your computer acting
Hold on
up?
1 second.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. It's hard for me to switch screens. I can pull that up. Hold on.
That's right.
I did receive that email. I just didn't get a chance to review it yet. Typically, if you email it to me, it's a little easier for me to input them, input any changes, or for example, if there was a large amount of changes, copy and paste whatever needs to be changed. But we should always discuss them at the meeting as well. Enable editing. Let me see if I can share this. I have to share that app now.
While we're waiting, Michael, thank you, by the way, for reviewing those in the first place. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is Mike C. I didn't refute. I didn't really look at this one that Rich made some comments to because it had content about my project on it. So
Okay.
Angela, I agreed that it would be appropriate for me to mark that up.
So this is Rich again. This first part here, can you click on the line on the left there so they can see where the track edit is? There you go. My point about the trail stewards when I brought them up was I was just mentioning that I volunteer with them. I doubt that's a conflict of interest of any form, but that's really what I was saying.
Okay.
So I thought I'd add that if that's okay. And then if you scroll down to the next, there's a comment on the second page, 3rd line. It says solar will come down. What's that word?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm assuming, yeah, the sewer is what it's supposed to say.
Yeah, that was the project by the high school, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the question I had. Yeah, it's sewer.
Yeah, so it should be sent in a little bit further down, facilitation bags.
Probably siltation is my guess.
That's siltation, there you go, siltation bags, okay. Scroll down and then further down the next page. So that would be siltation bags, I'll go along with that. Scroll in and then
Well, might even be siltation beds, I'm not sure, but.
That's specifically it. It's siltation bags. The person who does our meeting minutes, it's probably difficult to hear on the recording, and I didn't catch it because Microsoft Word didn't flag it, and I just read it really quick, and in my mind I read siltation bags.
Okay.
They probably don't have experience and probably had no clue what a siltation bag is.
Yeah, no problem, but that's why we're looking at it, that's all. And I'm sure it's very tough to hear some of this. So then the next one was under the certificates of compliance. The further, right there. Chuck said that looks like about a 10-foot drop from the top of the slope to the issue. What's the issue? What's that word?
It's like a 10-foot drop from the top of the slope to the. Is this still this isn't still the same project, is it? What's the project? 616 Prospect Street.
Anyways, I figured that's not.
Yes, I
the
believe you had
correct
said
word.
that because it was a 10-foot drop down.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind if you just deleted that comment. I don't think because yeah, it ended up not being relevant or germane anyway. So you can just take out take out that whole bullet. There you go.
Chuck, that's often this is Rich again, the best thing to do when there's something we don't know really
Yep.
sure what it is just take it out, because then at
Yep.
least we're not wrong. Thank you. So then there's an edit down at the bottom, just a grammar thing, an R instead of an is. So I would recommend that the motion be based on those edits to approve these particular minutes.
All right, so I'll then look for a motion to accept the minutes for September 28th. No, I'm sorry. What was the date? November 23rd, November 23rd, 2021, as reviewed and edited by the commission tonight.
I'll make that motion. This is Rich Gullet.
Thank you, Rich. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mike.
Sorry, Liz.
Mike?
Yeah. Oh, I should.
That's one that's got a whole lot of stuff about your particular.
Correct. Thank you, Rich.
Well, this is Jeffrey Goin, and I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
There you go.
Good catch. Good catch.
Thank you. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Elizabeth Reedy-Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Michael Siki, how do you vote?
I don't think I can vote. I think I have to recuse myself from this vote.
No, you can
Why
vote
not?
on it. You can vote on it. You're voting on the accuracy of the meeting minutes, not of
Right.
any
And I vote
process.
aye. And I vote aye. It's Michael
Perfect.
C.
And then Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Perfect. So the motion carries to approve the November 23rd, 2021 meeting minutes with the edits made by Mr. Gullick.
Wonderful. And Angela, we lost your screen again.
Oh, darn. Hold on 1 minute. Let me put it back on.
I forgot to print the minutes, otherwise.
That's the worst part
I
of switching
can do
from
it
a
myself.
2-screen computer to this.
Yep.
Is it gonna share? Under my screen, I want to do applications. Oh, 1 moment here. I have too many applications open, of course. And there we go.
All right, thank you. So, what about the other minutes, Angela? Obviously, we can't do September 28th because you didn't actually send it, but the one for ones for 2020, I think Liz is probably the only one that was here at the time. How do we do that? We just make a motion and vote on them anyway?
Yeah, just a vote to accept them, just as a house, cleaning house task.
All right, so can I get a motion to accept the minutes for July 14th, 2020 and February 25th, 2020 as distributed by the agent?
This is Liz. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Liz. Second?
I'll second it. This is Rich Gullick.
Thank you, Rich.
I was not there, but I did read them.
Thank you. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Jeffrey Goin, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Michael Siki, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Perfect. So the motion carries to accept the July 14th and the February 25th, 2020 meeting minutes. And I apologize, I somehow oversaved the turkey flower that I was requested to make over the September meeting minutes.
All righty. All right, good. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. Moving on to enforcement then. New enforcement, 803 Pleasant Street. There's been substantial work done within the riverfront and buffer zone that was unpermitted. There was also work done under an older order of conditions that was never recorded, creating a violation. What do you have, Angela?
This is Angela here. So this kind of came across my plate actually, as originally they wanted to put solar on their property. I'm bringing up the map right now. They wanted solar on their property. They had to go before the planning board. I was reviewing the site, and there is a perennial stream that goes through the site, as well as there are wetlands on the site. They do have past permits. To the sewer up the driveway when they had to install it. But in reviewing the file and reviewing the history of the site, I discovered quite a large garage put in here that there, as soon as this decides to load, I can 1,100-foot resource area of the riverfront, as well as the buffer zone right up to the edge of the wetlands that was never permitted, as well as there was an addition on the back of the property. So I don't know if you guys can see it yet. There it is. You can see this is the 2021 imagery. You can see that this right here is not considered perennial. It's on the cusp of being perennial, but it is a drainage ditch for an upgrading wetlands, which does make it jurisdictional to the commission, as well as it does connect over here to the perennial stream that runs along the property. And this large garage here, and I'm gonna see if I can mark it with the measuring tool. This entire area here was all built without permits. I did try to reach the homeowner. I sent them a letter. I sent an email to their representative for the solar to kind of discuss that there are some violations on site. I need to get on site and meet with him, as well as the original order of conditions for the sewer line work. And there's some other, minor landscaping items that were done, was never actually recorded at the registry of deeds. And since the permit was not recorded, the permit is not considered active until it is recorded. And they can't technically all that work was done. I'm doing air quotations. You can see it was done unpermitted until that is recorded. So due to the extensive time from this permit was, I believe, from early 90s, late 80s. I did put a call into the senior analyst, Kim Roth at DEP, and kind of discussed it with her. And her recommendation would be to do a large enforcement order, basically dictating that they record the original order of conditions, they close that order of conditions out as the work was done and completed. And then we need to meet and kind of go over the violations on site, and they need to, if they can keep the additional work in the riverfront area, they would need to file for it and provide the evidence, including building, as well as photos that this was done pre the new Riverfront Protection Act regulations, since there was in 2006, they did update the stormwater regulations and the Riverfront Protection Act regulations that limited how much of the 100-foot buffer zone you can alter. So they would need to prove which set of regulations they have to meet for it and then file an after the fact notice of intent, or they would have to take it down and or move it somewhere else in the property.
All right.
Due to the fact that it's right into the wetland there. Due to the nature of this, I don't feel comfortable issuing an enforcement order just yet until I speak with the homeowner and have them here on the call, obviously. It's not ideal.
All right. Thank you, Angela. So basically, you were just informing us of this tonight, and we're still waiting to hear about it as things progress. Is that correct?
Yes, I was hoping to have heard back from the homeowner and kind of be able to file everything out and nail it all down tonight and have the enforcement order issued so we could set dates. But unfortunately, I haven't heard back, so I will continue to try to make contact. I do think it'd be important for him or her at the meeting when we discuss the enforcement order, because it will be very invested for all parties.
Yep, agreed. Okay. All right, so there's nothing for us to do tonight, but anybody in the commission have any questions or comments for Angela?
No,
All right.
if she plans a site visit, this is Rich Bellick, I'd be interested to go to see what the violations are. And what, to get an idea of what the impact may be.
All righty. Thank you, Rich. All right, Angela, keep us posted. Thank you.
Will do. Let me skip back to the agenda. There we go. That was a quick one.
All right, much easier. Yes, thank you. All right. Now, continued enforcement, we're waiting on permits to be filed / no action to be taken. I guess I'll just read them all. Do I just read them all, Angela? Do we have to go through each one?
You can just read them all into the record, and then we can just go on with the meeting because I put
Okay.
that in the agenda for once.
Okay.
Oh no.
So the three addresses are, the first one is Peninsula on Lakeshore Drive, bank eroding due to past alteration. Number 2 is 9 Kendall Hill Road, waiting for engineer to submit plans. And 1775 Lock Drive, additional alteration to riverfront area. Angela, was there something else you wanted to add to that?
Oh no, I was just apologizing because I over scrolled the screen. I was like, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. No, you're all set. All right. Okay, moving on. No emergency certifications under budget. Oh,
Quick question, Chuck.
Shoot.
The first one there, is that Mr. Siki's project?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
Throw the book
What
at
are
him.
what are we waiting on there? Because we've gone through the NOI and so on, or is it something separate?
Angela here, yes. So the bank erosion under the enforcement order, due to the past alteration, is because the previous owners had dug out kind of like a gully, a large crater in the side, and it was eroding into the lake. And so the commission issued an enforcement order for Mr. Siki to repair that and kind of come up with a plan, which he has done. But as he's doing that, he also is working on his permit for his recreation building there. And so we did, I think he discussed some of the additional erosion work he was going to be doing under the notice of intent due to the retaining wall and the site work happening on site. So
So I guess okay, thank you. I guess my question is, does this keep staying on the agenda then? This is a continued item? Or
yes,
does it
it'll
roll
stay on the
into the
agenda
rest?
until it's completed.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So like I said, nothing under emergency certifications. Under budget, request for a transition of money from the WPA fund to fund an intern position in the office. Drafting a letter to mayor and job description. What's happening with that, Angela?
So I have received the mayor's signature on the forms that I need, and I have submitted them to the city council to be brought up before, I believe it's the Ways and Means Commission, and then it'll go before city council. Most likely they'll not interview, but they'll ask me to explain and kind of go over it with them. And then after that, it is going to go to the city comptrollers, and then we can start advertising and hopefully hire for an intern in the office.
Wonderful.
Yay.
Good luck with that. Anybody have any questions or comments for Angela? Rich, does your cat have anything to say?
I was gonna say.
Cooper says hi. I
Right.
sometimes have one on each side of the computer. They can eat for the pillows up.
Alrighty. Well, Angela, well, good luck with that. Keep us posted if you need anything from us, but it's kind of a long time coming, so good luck with it. Moving on, the next meeting will be Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. The deadline to submit applications for that was last Friday, February 18th. Angela, unless you have anything else, I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is
I'll
Jeffrey
make that
Goin. I'll make that
motion.
motion.
I think I heard Rich first, so Rich, thank you very much. And
So this is Jeffrey Goin. I'll second.
thank you, Jeff.
This is Angela. The rest of the vote will be done by roll call. Michael Siki, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Elizabeth Ricci Blair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. And Chairman Chuck Raymond, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. So the motion carries to adjourn this very special Tuesday of February 22nd, 2022 meeting of the Leominster Conservation Commission.